It is finally time for me to talk about the Tony Khan situation and the BS that is going on with this quote-unquote biggest storyline in 2025, which is the Deathriders. And it's failing terribly, and I'm going to tell you why and what I would change. In the beginning, I actually was invested in the Deathrider storyline. I was like, okay, this is going somewhere. They're taking over, they're invading. They just took out Bryan Danielson in the craziest way possible. They are obviously a rebel group who just want to see AEW back to where it used to be, and they hate what the company has become. So I was like, you know what? I like that because I'm not liking it either. And then JonMoxley talked to Tony Schiavone, which had Tony Khan in his ear, claiming that this isn't your company anymore. I'm like, okay, this is actually getting really good. I don't know which way this is going to go, but it's seeming pretty good right now. Next thing JonMoxley would do is try to go against Darby Allin at Grand Slam to take his world title opportunity against Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Dream. And obviously in which he did, he took out Darby Allin, gets the spot, goes against Bryan at Wrestle Dream, which honestly I kind of didn't like in my opinion. I don't think the story needed the world title, but I guess it's whatever. I'll explain why in a little bit of what I would have changed, but that's what happened. JonMoxley would win the title and destroy Bryan Danielson, which has everybody sad and crying, and it was silent to end Wrestle Dream. It was fantastic. Now they were at a point where they took out Orange Cassidy and a whole bunch of mid-carders like the Dark Order who don't even get TV time, and I'm like, I kind of don't like it, but listen, they're going from the ground up, so I get it. They're taking out everybody. I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. Kind of iffy about it, but I let it slide. What I do like is that there's a lot of people targeting the AEW World Championship, which is great, but I will admit it is kind of clunky and all over the place, so I'm not really happy about that, but at least there's more than one person trying to get the world title, so I do like that part. But the true decline for me is when Mox said he was going to take over the Superstation for TBS, and literally nothing happened. I was like, dude, you made this hyped up, and I'm like, nothing really happened to make this storyline interesting. And then shit just started going out. They taking out the Rock and Roll Express. They taking Darby out, throwing him down a flight of stairs. I'm like, dude, this is all over the place. And I know they got rid of Darby because Darby's looking to climb Mount Everest finally and then come back. And I think they want him to win the world title. So I'm like, okay, it's whatever. I'm not a big fan of that decision. But hey, if that's where they want to go, that's all good. But like I said, things are getting worse. We haven't seen the world title in forever because it's stuck in a fucking briefcase. And then they have Jeff Jarrett on his 1-year retirement tour trying to win the world title. And to make it worse, they have MJF, one of the best wrestlers in the world, helping Jeff Jarrett, or at least trying to, so Jeff Jarrett could win the world title and then MJF could get his Triple B back, which I think is the most stupidest way to use MJF in a story with Jeff Jarrett. It makes no sense, and I can't stand that situation. Then you have Rated FTR go after the fucking Deathriders, and they made the Deathriders look like fucking chumps. So it's like, I don't know what's going on. This isn't an invasion. Nothing they've done so far is making me be like, oh shit, everybody should be scared of the Deathriders. They're coming after you. You better stay out of their way. None of that. So I'm like, dude, how am I supposed to be interested in this when you don't even really care? None of them look dominant. Everything just seems so all over the place. And now at Maximum Carnage, you have Powerhouse Hobbs going against JonMoxley for the world title, which is fine. I think I'm okay with that because this is their best time to showcase Will Hobbs and actually push him to be a big star that he truly can be. So I'm like, okay, I'm all right with this match happening. It's all good. I love Powerhouse Hobbs, so we'll see what happens. And this is the real reason why I wanted to make this video, because Tony Khan goes on X and shows what the main event of AEW Collision Maximum Carnage is going to be. And it is a 12-man fucking tag team match with the Outrunners and the Learning Tree in this match.
Is this nigga serious?
So then I go in the comments to see if the tribalists are gonna be like, yay, Tony Khan, good job, whatever. So I'm like, okay, let me look through it. And it's bad when I go through the comments and there's actually people there that are shitting on this. They are now starting to realize how bad Tony Khan booking has been in recent memory. It is fucking terrible. A lot of people hold their tongue, but this time people had enough once they saw the main event of AEW Collision, which I'm glad. Now, I don't know if this guy was trolling or not, but it's comments like this that makes Tony Khan be like, oh, AEW's fine. Everybody's loving the product right now. It's all positive. I don't know why people are making it seem like it's a bad thing. And this is the problem. He sees stuff like this and pretends like the negative comments don't exist and the positive ones are the only ones, and he believes AEW is at its best right now, when we all know that currently AEW is at its lowest point right now, and it's very unfortunate. This storyline is an absolute failure, but this is how I would have booked the Deathriders story. Instead of everything happening at All Out, I would have started at Wrestle Dream, where it was Hangman Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson, and actually have Hangman retire Bryan Danielson and become the world champion, because Hangman was mega hot after he had one of the best storylines that they ever produced with him and Swerve. So you might as well just give him the world title. I think it would have made sense, and it was perfect timing to do for Hangman, because this man was on a different level of momentum that I haven't seen in a very long time. Then after the match, that's when the BCC arrive and have one final moment with Bryan. Everybody loving the moment, saying goodbye to Bryan in his hometown, and it's like everything was so beautiful. And then that's when they attack Bryan and do exactly what they did, get the plastic bag and, suffocate him like we've seen at All Out. Then they do an invasion angle, kind of like what Nexus did, and absolutely tear everybody down. Get rid of the commentary, beat everybody down to a pulp, even have Moxley rip off Excalibur's mask and have him have to cover his face. Now he's down. Even do the Justin Roberts situation, like make everything seem like a big deal. Then that's when the rest of the roster comes out and the Deathriders retreat, and everybody is so sad to see Bryan Danielson go out this way and see what AEW has become. Then the next week on Dynamite is when the Deathriders explain why they did what they did and what their mission statement is. And then JonMoxley cuts a promo asking Tony Khan to come down to the ring for a second because they need to discuss something. TK shows up and JonMoxley tells him to sign a contract that gives Deathriders the full power to Dynamite and Collision. If he does not do it, they're gonna do what they did to Bryan. They take out the plastic bag, and that's when the roster comes out, the mid-cards, and they try to take the Deathriders out, and they're not successful. Neither is Darby, because he tries to help out, and they all get wiped out. Then Tony Khan has no choice but to sign the contract. Now the Deathriders completely control the company, but they still decide to take out Tony Khan just to make sure everything goes to plan. Then after that, you have Tony Khan get off social media so we don't see him go, hey, Dynamite this week, make sure you go and tune into Max and Collision, so we don't have to hear none of that. Take out Tony Khan and pretend like he truly is not a part of the company anymore, because it'll make things more interesting knowing that he's been taken out and he's in a hospital recovering for now. And we all love Renee, and we don't want to see her as a heel because, we love her so much. But it would be dope if she joins Moxley and doesn't show up to the 0-hour shows during the pay-per-views, or never shows up at all, only to do interviews when the Deathriders need to cut a promo. That would be a perfect way to make sure everybody knows that the Deathriders control everything and everyone. Then that's when you have Moxley take over the Superstation for TBS, have Dynamite be the intro of just the Deathriders, make a strictly just a heel commentating team, kind of like Nigel and whoever they can choose as well, and even have everybody who holds a title be heel champions, including the Hurt Syndicate. They don't join the Deathriders, they're just in a partnership where they agree with their mission statement, and now they even have the world champion on their side. So all the heels have the titles. And we'll even do a thing where MJF also agrees with what they're saying. He doesn't join the Deathriders, but he gets their mission statement and wants to be a part of that. And he even goes to Hangman and tells him, once we control everything, once we take out everybody who does not agree with the mission statement, I'm coming for my world title. And they agree on that. That once everything is done with, he gets his title shot. But Christian also tells them, hey, I'm still here. So now everybody's involved, and the leaders of this movement is the Deathriders. And then we go into like All In, and I guess that's when Darby becomes a world champion. I really don't care for Darby to be world champion, but that seems the way they want to go. So I guess he can be the person to save AEW from the Deathriders. I don't know, but look how simple booking that storyline is. I don't know why Tony Khan cannot book storylines anymore. Everything seems so all over the place. He can't just stick to one thing. And it really fucking sucks to see AEW in the state that it is right now, because it shouldn't be this way. I don't know why he has a hard time showcasing everybody's ability. Like, look what WWE's doing. Penta had one debut, and one night he got over because he's that great and they showcased him that way. Then they have one of the best storylines that's simple and basic, but they're intriguing. You have the Royal Rumble where CM Punk enters because he wants to finally main event a WrestleMania. Seth Rollins wants to join the Royal Rumble. He just wants to make sure that CM Punk does not win. Also a plus, he gets to main event another WrestleMania while CM Punk has to sit on the sidelines. And you have Drew McIntyre, who simply wants to join the Rumble because he wants to win a world title before Roman Reigns, because his mission is to take out everybody in the bloodline that was helping Roman Reigns and take out Roman Reigns right after and throw it in his face that he became a world champion before Roman Reigns. And then you have Roman Reigns, who's entering the Royal Rumble because he wants to win his world title back after getting the Ulafala back. And then you have John Cena, who is chasing number 17. Look how basic the Royal Rumble is, but it's stacked and it makes sense, and everything storyline-wise is fantastic. I don't know why everything is so difficult for Tony Khan. Needs to hire a better creative team so we can go back to when AEW was at its best, which was in 2021. What do you guys think about the Death Rider storyline? Do you guys enjoy it, or do you think they should just scratch the whole shit and just start all over? Let me know in the comments what you think. Once again, this has been Nezreax, and I'll see you in my next video. Love you guys.